Hello, it's Dr. Wendy Rowley in the Wonder of Human Design YouTube channel for the series, The New Christ Connections, and I believe we are in episode 7. And I hope I haven't misdone the numbers, but it's only for your clarification so that because sometimes you go back into YouTube and you're like, did I see that one? I can't remember. So I'm trying to do things to make that easy for you. But sometimes I mess it up. And to err is human, and I'm very human. I'm not perfect at all. Okay, let's see what Aliene has to say today. Oh, good day to you, dearest beings of the light. It is Aliene of Cosmic Service, Palladian Mother of Sound. Peace be with you, peace be with you, and peace be with you. And for those of you who are new to channeling, channeling is one of the oldest spiritual forms of communication that you have, believe it or not. Many people don't know this, but there's a special chair in the Vatican that the Pope sits in when he channels. And each Pope sits in it and channels. It's something they do. So channeling is an ancient, ancient, ancient ability of your soul and higher self's creational abilities. And as strange as it is, it's very common, and it has been done for a very long time. Okay, that's what we wish to say about that. Not to verify or sanctify or say this is the way to do it and should be done, but there comes a time and sometimes in people's evolutionary experiences where this happens to them, and this happens to be this one's incarnation where this is happening for her. It's nothing she chose. She actually didn't want to do this, but it is her soul's mission in this life. So she has surrendered to it with a little reserve. Okay, so what we would like to add on now today is we've given you the picture that you're fluid. There's these new wheels. There's Christ coming into the bardo. There's new benevolence. There's feelings that are there all the way through, all 3 days coming. There's a big flood and benevolence and the right path to redemption to fix and heal those things that you didn't quite get to in this lifetime or you created in this lifetime are feeling really good on this path. I can see how I would resolve it. And you go forward with a renewed sense of really wanting to be reborn because you know what to do. That's the third, I'm sorry, I don't know where we are, fourth. That's another thing that is going to change. And we would like to speak about that. And we're going to speak about it through this one's experiences, which she doesn't like, but it's purposeful. So she's going to get out of the way and we're going to do that. This one never quite felt connected to this life. She sort of felt like she was an observer, but she wasn't quite here. At about, I think that was about 6 to 7 years old, she was driving in a car with her family. She was in the back seat and she went, and she was like, she knew something had happened. And it had. And that was her soul coming in because it was time. Her soul did not come in a normal way like most people's when they are incarnated. And this is purposeful. So her soul came in more. And she knew in that moment that that had happened. Intuitively, even though she was 6 years old. So she went through her life. She had her experiences. She has a particular problem with people who are mean to her. Causes her to, was her Achilles heel. She would retreat, she would withdraw, she would hide. And she eventually had a lot of pain. And she couldn't figure out life. And she couldn't figure out what love was. And she began at 21, the minute her soul arrived, she said to the Creator, show me what love is. I know my parents don't know. I love them, they love me, but I know they don't know. And if they're the ones that are supposed to teach me, then I have to go to you because there's no one left. And she said, that's what I want in this lifetime. And so it began. And she also said something else that was very unusual. She said she wanted spiritual experiences so she would know it was true. And it began. And the only way you can have validation of your spiritual nature is through direct experience with your spiritual nature. And somehow she knew that, even though she didn't know she knew that. But she had enough soul presence that she knew that. And so it began. And it took her until she was about 27 years old to find someone who told her something very profound. He was a spiritual reader, not so much into the healing, but more into the reading. And he was a very, very good reader. And she eventually went to the school that he really encouraged her to go to, because it's a very good one. And he said something very profound to her on the second or third reading. He said, when you incarnated in this lifetime, you did not bring your soul in completely. And that's that. And she didn't like that idea. So eventually her work evolved, and she found her way to that school, and she began working her karmic akash and ridding her pain of the lower three chakras and learning how to rise up and sit in the sixth chakra and surrender and heal and be open to teaching and guidance. And she did some teaching from the Devic kingdom. She got some teaching, because this one was already clairvoyant. She did come in as a clairvoyant and as an intuitive and an aware person. And as childhood, she had lots of experiences. So she was someone that was a little more awake, but she still was missing a really big part. So by the time she started working with some forces on the other side of the veil, some beings and some elementals and divas, because she asked the Creator to send them to her to teach. She said, however I'm meant to learn, I'm open to anything. And she put up a list. And she said, wild card, however you need to do it. And the first one that came were the divas, the elementals. And then she worked with them for a while. And eventually she started to work with some interdimensional Pleiadian timekeepers, we'll just go say that. And eventually she began to work with us. Now, she was with us all along, but she didn't know it. But we did reveal ourselves to her at a meditation in her 20s that she was in, a meditation class she began. And she began doing spiritual healing work and meditating in her right away, like at 23. And then really heavily at 27 through 30. So, just so you know her history and you understand, not that we're trying to give you her history as a personality. We want you to see this story as a human experience. Do not glam onto this one with that story. This is just a human experience story as a metaphor to explain energy. So we would remind you to look at this way. So the first thing she did as she began to work with the interdimensional beings who were helping her clear, because she had figured out how to start to clear her akash energetically in a different way. And they eventually showed up, and one of the first things she asked us was, is there a way that I can bring my soul in more completely for this lifetime the way it's meant to be? And she was told yes. And she didn't know it, but we stepped in and we talked her into a meditation. And some of these things will be familiar sounding to you. Some of you who have been on the web and read a lot and know the Cryon teachings and know other things. To some of you, this will be so far out, you might turn this off. To some of you, this will be so intriguing, you're going to want more. So we're just giving you a heads up. This is a far out story. So in her meditation, where you are limitless and you are spirit, pure spirit, she was guided to go to a door, go downstairs to a landing, go down more stairs, open another door, and she would meet a being. She was given a word of power. The being stepped aside. She explained what she was doing. And in that other video, we mentioned that your individual akash is down in the center of the earth. She went down and was instructed to find her crystal in the cave of creation. And she did. And she was instructed to go over to it and to pick it up and to invite her soul in and to ask her soul to come into her now completely for this lifetime as it needed to do. And she saw a fascinating thing. She saw a spirit come down opposite her, and she was holding the crystal. And the crystal was between her and the being. And she assumed it was her soul and had confidence and trust and faith. And she said this, and she saw the energy of this soul force go into the crystal and come into her heart, her high heart, and fill her. And she figured it was done, said thank you, put the crystal back, turned around, went by the guardian, thanked him, went back up the stairs to the landing, back up the stairs, shut the door, up the landing, through the door, shut the door, and she returned, and she knew she was completely different. So, the moral of this story is, you are not completely here with your soul. You are fluid, and in any one moment, you have different degrees of your soul in. What is the point of healing? The point of healing is to allow more of your soul into the spirit body for greater presence and for evolution. What is the purpose of evolution? To become enlightened. What is enlightenment? To work with the divine intelligence of the creative force in creation. And that's the journey in a nutshell. So, when you heal, you bring in more soul. But when you do a fast-track healing system, which you can do during the Great Shift, you can do that in the beginning of a planetary system, the middle, and the end of a planetary system. After this, time changes. This is a certain window of time, the Great Shift. It's larger than the 36-year galactic cycle that they think it is. Most of the change happens in that. But there's large separations of preparation and healing on either side of that 36-year window. And so the fast tracks are able to happen in this quantum soup shift change of the Great Shift. And they have the ability to bring in more of your soul. And that's the moral of this story. That is the metaphor, and that is the benevolence of the Creator in this planetary system. Peace be with you. You are dearly loved. Expect benevolence in all you do, and we bid you adieu.